Howdy do, y'all. Just wanted to give a quick little update on some POB stuff. For the league start, somebody had mentioned that Tavika is going to be pretty cheap, and it typically is very cheap. So I went ahead and added it to the league start, setup. I just want to preface that, you will use Infernal Legion up until you get Tavikai. Then you can, successfully drop Infernal Legion for like Predator, Awakened LE Focus, whichever one you want to do. I prefer having Predator. I know it's another button to push, but you'd be surprised how much Ignite damage helps early game. I know it's only 300,000, but it really does. It really does help like a fair amount. But if you wanted to just run LE Focus, by all means, more power to you. You can certainly do that. As far as the end game goes, there's a bit more to speak on. When we're talking about the new ascendancy, right, which is 40% of the SRS life is added as extra energy shield. I don't think that Infernal Legion is really going to do much, because by the time the Tavakai's chaos damage reaches that threshold, most likely we're still going to be eating through all that energy shield through with Infernal Legion, because it's fire damage, that it's not even going to have a chance to affect the threshold, because it won't have a chance to deal damage to their actual life. And so that creates an opening for us. Now, if this is not the case, then, and it turns out that it actually does eat to it pretty quickly, then Infernal Legion is going to be possibly a reasonable way to get faster pops without adding in certain pieces of gear or a fortress in the middle of your tree. But I don't think that's going to be the case. Beyond that, I'm just going to remove it for now. What I really wanted to speak on was Skin of the Lords, as you'll see in the notes section. I have every single keystone broken down. Some you could use, some you can't use, and a lot of them you have no issues using. Everything is good. You're ready to go. And so one of the things that I'm kind of afraid of this league is, I know Zizarin is going to be playing SRS MI, and I'm sure other creators are going to hop on the bandwagon. And this is going to create some issues. Specifically in Trade League, prices may be higher than expected. I had a feeling that was going to happen this league once I saw that enormity wasn't going to be nerfed. And then when I saw that traditional SRS was nerfed, I had a feeling that prices might be a bit inflated. We have quite a few options here. Now that we're not running Infernal Legion, right? I've decided to just completely remove it from the in-game build, which I think is the right decision. You will have slower pops, but it's going to be more than playable. I played without Infernal Legion for hours and hours and hours, and essentially had no issue whatsoever. We have a list of supports here that are potential candidates for varying reasons as our sixth gem socket. If we go to our calculations, we can see that Minion Instability, it's about 2.5 meters. It's decent. It's not bad. So one of our first options is Awakened Area of Effect, more area damage, more area of effect. It's all quite lovely, right? We get a sizable increase in damage. And I mean, obviously, the POB calculations of SRS are just not even remotely correct. But this, it still gives us somewhat of a baseline of which supports are going to offer us the most. Right, we come back, we're at almost very close to 3 meters. If you wanted like a little bit of extra AoE, this is certainly an option. Awakened Decrease AoE, generally speaking, if I'm not mistaken, notoriously fairly cheap, right? And because we are using summon skitterbots, everything that we kill is going to be shocked and frozen, shocked and chilled. And then, so we have hypothermia also as an option, which gives us considerably more damage, but we're back down to the 2.5 meter AoE, and a 2020 hypothermia ain't really much, to be honest. And then you have the added benefit of a 20% chance to freeze enemies which are chilled. And so, every now and then it'll save your life, and I think it's a good addition. And then we have, pound for pound, our best damaging support that we can get as our 6th link. And that's Awakened Ellie Focus, right? But we can't deal any ignite damage. Right now, as it stands on 5 links, and let's just say we put on hypothermia, we're dealing 1.5 million ignite damage every single hit. That's not bad. That's pretty good. For me, that's a bit hard to give up, but we're also gaining like a ridiculous amount of just raw damage off of Awakened Daily Focus. Just pure, unadulterated damage. So this is also enough. Predator, I put in here so you could visualize it, right? If we go to configuration and we enable this, we're just shy of the damage of Ellie Focus with an addition of a button. This isn't even worth. And then we have Fresh Meat. Fresh Meat is a little different, right? Fresh Meat, whenever you summon, your SRS are going to get Weakened Fury, which is essentially adrenaline, right? And adrenaline's kind of a big deal. Adrenaline, you get increased damage, attack, cast speed, movement speed, and additional physical damage reduction, which doesn't really do anything for us because we're taking chaos damage. But they do have movement speed and damage, which is really, really, really nice. And not only that, they're getting 71% crit multi. That's a lot of crit multi. If we were going to lose ignite damage, I think I would rather use Fresh Meat, right, over Awakened Ellie Focus, And so we're just a little bit less, but we're also getting bigger hits, right? We have a bigger crit multi. We get movement speed, which is arguably extremely important, especially for SRS. And it just kind of makes more sense overall. And we still get over 1 million ignite damage. This, to me, almost beats out hypothermia, right? Now, if you want to be a little bit more defensive and have that chance to freeze, hypothermia is your game. That's what you want to run. But I'm actually particularly really liking Fresh Meat as our go-to support. And then you have the less damaging Awakened Fire Pin, which is, it's always nice. And it gives, a bit of fire exposure, which is never a bad thing. But another thing to consider, right, of all these options is typically when you have a 5 blue, 1 red, Skin of the Lords, those typically can be very expensive. And by very expensive, I mean 15 div. 10 to 15 div. But maybe a 4 blue, 1 green, 1 red, or a 4 blue, 2 red might be considerably cheaper. And all you have to do is sacrifice a little bit of damage for a little bit of a more reasonably priced item. And maybe you can take care of some of your power creep early. And then, once you get enough currency, then you can get, the real true, 5 blue, 1 red setup for your true end game. So if you're really itching to move away from your corrupted 6 link and you're looking for, you don't have a ton of currency still, you're looking for a cheap option to move into a Skin of the Lords, hypothermia and Awakened Fire penetration could possibly offer you the right socket colors that you may need, to get that cheap chest and just get busting with your Skin of the Lords, and then you can buy a more expensive one later on down the road when you really truly start min-maxing this build. So this is I just wanted to go over this with you guys so you guys can visualize and understand that, it's all up in the air. Prices may not change. A lot of this is not everyone's cup of tea, this type of build, and prices might skyrocket. So I just want you guys to be aware that there are options in, because if they're super expensive, I'm probably going to run a hybrid 4 blue, 1 green, 1 red setup. Most likely is what I'm going to end up doing. And those are probably going to be considerably cheaper. And we can take advantage of that by educating ourselves on what options are available to us. And these are really, truly I wouldn't go with anything other than these right here, to be completely honest. These are the best options you have, and you can look at prices when Skin of the Lord start coming up on the market, and then you can make the best decision for you at that time. So that's it. Sorry if I made this like super long. But I still have some things to do on the POB, namely on the league start setup, and I need to do like how to transition from early to mid game. And I'll be taking care of that in the coming days. So yeah, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Talk to you guys very soon. Be good.